All right, we're going to figure out what kind of train wreck this is going to be.
Hi.
Oh, in reverse.
Got him.
Yeah, it's time for another nerdy podcast on the internet because, you know, we're the originals.
Yeah, no one's ever done this before.
The OG.
Yeah. This is the Warhammered podcast brought to you by Second Pitch Beer Company. Which is, look at your matching sweaters.
I know.
I know. One of us
know.
has to change.
He came in earlier today and I was like, this can't happen. One of them has to go home and change. And it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
But it's a great new hoodie. Like the back hit is great.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's comfy too. I like wearing it.
Yeah, it's
soft.
a nice sweater.
Yeah.
So,
but I got ink spilled on mine.
oh no,
I haven't even
it's
watched
got personality
mine yet.
now.
Yep.
So, Second Pitch Beer Company here in San Antonio, Texas. You can find them on social medias and BattlePub Games, also in San Antonio, Texas, or BattlePub.com.
The best game store.
Which, by the
in the
way,
world.
if you go to BattlePub.com, there is down in the mega menu dropout. There's a thing that you can find your official Warhammered merch.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I am so excited.
We're getting fancy with
So
it now.
you can get hoodies, t-shirts.
Yeah, what do we have?
Also, so there's a couple of garments that have the games, drinks, and hijinks, which is what we highly encourage here on the show.
Always.
But there's a spotlight item.
The spotlight item, the quintessential item that you can get on there is a baby blue hoodie, Space Wolves blue.
Space
if you
Wolves
will.
blue.
It's baby blue hoodie that just says Russ was right on the front.
I know. I want to
which
get
is,
that so much.
which
I want
is
to get that.
it's a pretty solid. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I still want one shirt that says best Warhammer podcast, and then below it says
Probably.
recorded in a mall.
Yeah, recorded them all, yeah. So there's merch on there. There's hats. I think there's even a coffee mug that you can get. So, but the official Warhammered podcast merch
Yeah,
is
it's awesome.
a oot and a boot. So if you want to help keep the show
Going
on the net, we can't say on the air because we don't like broadcast
On the webs.
on the
I
web.
think on the air is still the correct term, though.
Yeah, maybe because it's an audio broadcast. Or you can go over there, so battlepub.com and find the link that says Warhammered.
Well, they look great. They're awesome. Can't wait to get my stuff in. You know, wear it all over
it's
the place.
gorgeous
It's gonna be
stuff.
great. Yeah,
So
very excited.
Anyways, we are the Warhammered podcast for those that are newer here, now that we've already tried to sell you stuff. And we do two things here. One is we cover nerd stuff, especially the Warhammered universe, at a...
Wave top level.
Yes. The other thing that we do around here is very important. It's very near and dear to our hearts. It's got me feeling ways.
Oh, ways.
It's got me, it gives me a thirst. And the only cure for that thirst
More cowbell.
is more Jim's Beer Corner.
Hey, everybody.
The Lord of the Casks.
The Lord of the Casks.
So, so we discuss booze. And most of the time, if it's not beer, we make it up. If it is beer, we let Jim talk about it because he actually happens to be an award-winning beer maker.
Yep. So,
Brewmeister?
brewer.
Brewer. What is a beer meister?
I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
like Snowmeister.
I think it's a
Beermeister's a thing.
It's a German thing, I bet.
Cheermeister?
Cheermeister. Burgermeister?
Burgermeister? The Earl of Sandwich?
But anyways, he's going to tell us all about beer, and he's brought us a new one today that double dips. This both is a wave top nerd stuff and it's beer.
Yeah, this one was custom made. Not custom made,
I was
but
going to say,
It's a collab beer.
it's a collab beer with us and a local company. Kimmy, if you want beer, you have to come over here, but you can't get into the camera. That's the rule.
you got to crawl on the ground.
You have to crawl on the ground.
Just come
So-
get your beer.
Get your beer.
Come crawl.
He's only like 4'7". He doesn't really need to crawl.
Yeah, get over here, Gimli.
He's not much taller than the cameras. He's our in-house dwarf.
If anybody remembers really early on in the show, that young man was actually on the show. So anyways, yeah, this was a collab beer. Go ahead.
So it's collab beer with I think it's a local company. I think they only have like a couple.
Pretty sure they're...
It's like Texas only.
Yeah, I think it's just like here in Austin.
Yeah. They have I think they have one in El Paso. But
that
it's
doesn't
called
count.
Flicks Brewhouse. It is a movie theater / brewery. And they do a really great job. It's a really fun experience to go to a movie there. Very similar to like Alamo Draft House.
Except for Alamo Draft House I don't think actually makes their own shit.
No, they don't make their own stuff, but they actually have a real brewer on staff making beer, fresh beer. So you
And
can
that's like the big difference between something like, which has gotten, Alamo Draft House is really big. Or any of those movie theaters you go to that have a bar or whatever that serve beer.
Exactly. That's like the new standard now, though.
Flicks.
The one in Round Rock that I went to when I was living up in Austin, they have a plexiglass and you can see into like where their tanks are, where they like age their beer out into the
Flicks
holding
actually
tanks.
makes it like in their movie theaters. Like they're actually making beer there.
They actually
as well.
have it,
It's pretty cool.
It's a fantastic thing. The brewer there, his name's Hot Rob. That's how everybody knows him. And I was like, oh, you brewed with Hot Rob? And I was just like, I didn't know that leads to that there is a medium Rob and an ugly Rob.
But that also explains a lot about that evening. Yeah,
Right,
Does he like to party?
He might. You have to find out. But anyway, we made this wonderful beer. We needed one to make a Imperial Stout. It's nice cold weather beer. And we made a really great one. And it's called the Drow. I don't know anything about that.
So the Drow are they are a dark elf race from the D&D universe. So they there's a bigger D&D nerd than me around that wall, and he's about to fucking yell at me. But
Wave top level.
way top level.
They're from a place called the Underdark. Yeah, see, I'm getting nods. So they're from a place called the Underdark, and they have like this huge empire.
Okay.
In the Underdark, and the Underdark,
But they can't find it because it's so dark.
it's kind of actually there's like no, it's all underground. It's like this other realm, and
It's like, where's that fucking room?
and they
God
were
damn it.
they were part of the original Elven race, and then they like broke off to go do this thing. But they're like a bunch of the dark gods and dark magic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
It's the
Dritz, I believe, is actually a drow too. Dritz Dwarden, who's probably the most famous D&D character in the nerd world. He's got his own novels. R.A. Salvatore wrote a great series of books on Dritz Dwarden, including his personal memoirs. I have that signed copy at home.
Yeah.
But the drow are
dark
they're
elves.
still immortal and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, but they're very much on the dark side, and it's all about just how do we just make the drow better. And there's a huge power struggle amongst all of their kind of things. But Dritz Dwarden has both been an anti-hero and a villain in the story. But he's never really been the good guy.
No.
But there has been stories about him that's just kind of like, I don't know if I'd call that evil. He just kind of did what he needed to do.
So it's kind of like they're kind of like the Drakari.
Yeah. The 40K equivalent would be the Drakari.
The Drakari.
Yeah.
Nice.
For the older Warhammer crowd out there, if you're listening to that, would be the Dark Eldar. They've now have their own name, and they're the Drakari. Kind of that way. Less BDSM.
Yeah.
More
Yeah,
just
they're very BDSM.
the Drakari.
The Drakari
The
are,
Drow are far more of
No,
the.
they like that weirdness.
And they're very self-contained. They like
What, the Drow?
They're very reserved.
So they stay in the Underdark. They're cool with that, and that's why there's so many campaigns and stuff that where you go into the Underdark and you're essentially just trying not to get caught, trying not to end up in Drow prison, trying not like.
So, but the Underdark is like literally dark. So, what do you just walk around stubbing your toe?
Yeah, kind of. Well, the Drow all like in the game, the Drow can essentially just see in the dark, and like their skin is all like super pale, and their eyes are like almost pure black. Because it's their ability to see in darkness and stuff
just
like that.
Drowing it up.
Yeah. So the fact that you made a beer that you literally cannot see through,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
as an imperial stout. Now, we've talked about stouts
Yes.
on the show.
Yes.
What gives it the imperial name?
So that's a great question. Legend has it. The Imperial Stout we called it Imperial Stout, but the true name, and it's kind of been changed recently, but the old school name back in the 90s was a Russian Imperial Stout. And this was a beer that was made high alcohol. And the idea was that it was made in England and it was shipped to the Russian court, the Tsar court. And they love this kind of beer. And it was a big high alcohol beer that could handle super cold weather and not freeze, because that's a thing.
Because the alcohol is high enough that it won't freeze.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the legend of it. I don't know if that's really true. I'm like, these beers kind of have all these like weird legends to
Now,
them.
for the most part, now almost everybody I know that still makes an imperial stout, even in the last 10 years, the Russian name has been dropped off. Because I remember when there was a lot of Russian imperials.
Yeah,
and
everyone
a lot of
is
the
dropping the
naming,
Russian.
and a lot of the naming structure was pulled from. It's like you had like old Rasputin and like all this stuff that was
Putin's revenge and stuff like that.
And
but
they were monsters too. They were like
they're
15, 16%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of dropped in the last 5-10 years because
PC.
Russia, no, because Russia's
Nobody
a piece
likes
of
Russia.
shit. Yeah. Russia's a complete piece of shit. I see a lot of there's been a big move right now for Ukrainian imperial stouts.
Boo.
Boo.
That's pandery.
It's a little pandery, but I've seen a couple of them do Ukrainian stouts, like Ukrainian imperial stout, and they give like a proceeds and
You know
stuff
what?
like
I'll
that
say
too.
it. I don't care. Ukraine is just Russia with a different name. They're
Well, that's what Russia says too.
Russia light.
well, but they were USSR. Like that, they were part of Russia. And
Yeah,
then,
a lot of fucking places were part of
Like,
USSR.
right, but the Ukraine still functions like Russia. They just don't fly the flag.
Yeah,
Like
they have their
it's-
own flag.
They broke off, but
Yeah,
it still
it's
functions
Russia.
like Russia.
Yeah, it's it's full of like pretty much
Gross.
just
Yeah,
gross.
awful people. Yeah, like
Are we getting political right now?
no, it's just look, fucked up government is fucked up government. I'm
That's
not getting political. Fucked up government is fucked up government. I don't give a fuck if it looks like it's the little guy getting picked on by the big guy. If it's
That's
just
true.
fucked up political situations fighting each other,
They're still fucked
they're
up.
both fucked up. Like
Yeah.
I don't, it's
I
like
don't. I honestly have not researched into that.
you
too
shouldn't.
much.
You shouldn't because it's
Because-
gross. And there's a reason
Exactly.
that.
It's the same thing with the Palestinian Israeli thing. Like
Look,
I'm just staying so far fucking away.
Here's
from
my
that.
deal: if countries that you had never planned on vacationing to were fighting each other, you shouldn't care because you didn't want to go there in the first place.
When I was in Sweden, I had an opportunity to go to Russia.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, they did.
You just don't wanna be
could-
there.
You could go do like a bus trip to St. Petersburg, and I was like, that sounds fucking terrible.
I do St. Petersburg.
Do you know what it is? It's
really
not
pretty.
the countries. Almost every country that I've ever been to, if it was a shitty country, it wasn't that the country was shitty. Here's what it all boils down to. And this isn't anything. It's always the people. It's always the people. Always. It's not like it's
Yeah,
that country just makes bad people. And it's like, no, bad people make bad people. Like
no.
like bad parents make shitty kids.
That's
Like
true.
it's just it is what it is. It's not a political thing. It's just shitty people do shitty people things. And when shitty people train
Other
new
shitty
people,
yeah,
you just get more shitty people.
more
Like
and
it's
more shit. Yeah,
so it's not a political statement at all. It's just don't be shocked when places full of shitty people do shitty people things.
yeah. We're kind of also seeing that a little bit too. You know?
It's kind of rampant right now. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, the reason I stay out of politics is that I've yet to see anybody involved in politics that I can respect.
That's definitely 100% true.
And I don't care. Pick any country.
Any side, any country, all of them.
Any
kinda
side, any
suck.
country. Politics. That's why I'm in the gaming world.
Yeah, that's why I make beer.
I just get to make shit up.
Except beer has become more political. Fuck that.
That's what I like about your company, though.
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck it. I make good shit.
Yeah.
Here's my awards. Fuck
Yeah,
off.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, getting back to the beer, we made a couple fun things with this beer. One is that there is a really, really good brewery in Colorado, Denver, called Bierstadt.
Okay.
And they are known for their slow pour pilsners. You know, those side pour pilsners with the
Yeah.
big frothy head and everything on it. And we heard from somebody that the what they do to make their pilsner stand out a little bit was throw like a tiny bit of smoked malt in there.
Okay.
And we did the kind of the same idea. We used 5 pounds of cherry wood smoked malt in this.
Okay.
So you get kind of like this weird kind of little smoky undertone to it that you can't really pick out unless somebody tells you about it, which I think is really, really nice.
I can smell the smokiness.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's a
But it's
tiny,
not
tiny
like-
amount. Yeah.
It's not like liquid smoke in your face. It's
Mm-mm.
just like it almost tastes like it was toasted.
Exactly. But it's a good beer. We really enjoy it. We made some really, really great stuff with it. And then, so you can buy it either at Second Pitch or you can go to the Flicks Brew House in San Antonio and drink it there. They'll have it available as well.
Nice.
So we're really, really excited about this beer.
I
Is
like
your
it.
is your merch online yet?
I think so.
Place for like, can they go buy Second Pitch Beer Co? Like
Yeah.
merch on the website?
Yeah. Secondpitchbeer.com. Yeah, they can buy merch there too.
Fucking A. See?
Yeah.
It really is
It's a nice
the new
sweatshirt.
sweatshirts and stuff are awesome.
Yeah. We're working on it.
My
We're getting our way.
favorite one though is what is it? It's not summer till lightning strikes. My fucking
Oh, yeah.
my muscle
The
shirt that I have
hypercolor
from
one.
the
Yeah, the muscle.
hypercolor summer
Yeah,
lightning
yeah.
one. Yeah, that's I have quite a bit of Second Pitch beer
Swag.
merch. But I think that muscle shirt that's just on one of the shows that we recorded when it was
Yeah.
hot as balls
Yeah,
here.
it's just insane hot.
And I'm wearing that shirt. But
Yeah, we're working on the merch, which we're getting cooler merch every day. If you buy merch, it begets more merch.
That's
boom.
true.
Yeah.
Sweatshirt begat hat.
Begat.
Hat begat
Beanies.
beanies begat coasters. And
That's how it works. Yeah.
It's a lot of begats.
Yeah. It's the Bible, right? It's the long Christmas mass.
The drow is awesome. We actually, Caitlin and I are, just so you know, this isn't like total pandering or whatever. Caitlin and I are actually Mug Club members at your brewery.
Yes, yes.
And one of the perks of
wasted.
Yeah, it was effective. Yeah,
it was effective.
One of the perks of being a Mug Club member is that you get access to the new draft beers a couple of days before anybody else does.
Usually,
I think it's the Wednesday before the Friday.
It's either
that.
sometime before that week. So we release it usually a couple days beforehand. It could be anywhere from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But then on Friday is when it's released to the general public.
Yeah, but the Mug Club members can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
And so Caitlin had her birthday, and we went there, and it was a Wednesday. Yeah. And the drow had become open for Mug Club members. And one of the other perks of being a Mug Club member is that your glass is bigger than the standard pour there.
Right, yeah.
And I had 2 20-ounce pours of the drow, and that'll get it done.
That gets it done.
Yeah, it's effective.
That's fighting.
So if that gives you any idea of how good the beer is, I put down 40 ounces of it in like an hour.
And it's like 10.5%.
It's a hoss.
And it doesn't feel like it.
It drinks a little for an imperial stout, and I've had quite a few. Like we rattled off, right? Like
Old Rasputin,
any of those that used to come in bombers only. Do you remember all those, like the $18 bombers of the? Oh God, just monster fucking beers.
Just get fucking hammered.
They did not drink as easy as
they're
the
usually
drow
pretty
does.
thick, and there's a lot of fire to it.
And there's that bite.
Yeah,
that just like which. You kind of get why it's Russian, because it's like, why does this hurt a little bit? Like, I don't.
It's because it's Russian. You're supposed to hate life.
In Russia, beer drink you. Yeah, it's
everything hurts.
Everything hurts. Even air hurts face. It's just cold.
Just Russia.
It's just Russia.
Speaking of Russia, though, and nerd stuff, you remember that movie Eastern Promises?
Yep.
No.
They're making Eastern Promises too.
No.
Yep. It's greenlit. It's in production.
Wow.
They're bringing back what's his face too.
In production or pre-production?
Really?
Yeah.
He's like 65 now.
Yeah, it's like him like later on.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he still have his cool little bead thing that he flips on?
I fucking hope so.
It's like my I don't even know what that
Viggo Mortensen.
I don't even know what that thing was, but it had like those square tiles on it, and he did it and flipped it, and I was like, that was way better than a fidget spinner. Like I don't know what that thing is, but I want one.
It's prayer beads. Prayer beads.
They weren't prayer beads because they were like square.
For the Russian Orthodox Church.
Oh, is that what that was? Yeah, it was dope. Those scenes were wild.
Fucking great.
When they're freaking tattooing his knees and stuff. Oh, have you never seen Eastern Promises?
No.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
Such a good movie.
Apparently, we need to have another PBR pizza night.
Yeah, because Viggo's he did it like only a couple years after Lord of the Rings. It's like a 15-year-old movie. Like this is not a new film.
Yeah, it's like him later in like the mafia getting up there,
and then he's like, but he's undercover and stuff. Like it's a
the reveal. Film. The reveal's great.
Oh my God.
That.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Well, I mean, like when Lord of the Rings came out, Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah,
I was in 6th grade.
Wow.
If that gives
you
we're
guys done with this conversation.
Some perspective on why I don't know what that movie is.
Done with this conversation.
All right. Yeah. But anyway, if you like, shitty Russians,
That was so good, though. There's some stuff, and it's cool to think it's cool. The Russian mafia is fascinating. Their structure, the symbolism and stuff.
Organized crime is fucking fascinating.
I'm not going to lie. You know what? I'll say it. None of y'all listen to the show. I don't give a fuck. The American mafia is boring as fuck.
It's super boring.
It's super boring. But when you get into the real stuff,
like Albanians and Yakuza,
or the actual Italians, like in Italy, the Russians, all that kind of stuff, that stuff is wild.
Wow. Yeah,
like
crazy.
it is wild. It's religious level organized. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's great.
So
I love it. I'm so
crazy
fascinating. Even biker gangs are fascinating and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And as somebody that rides, I mean, I rode here today. I would never ride like with the proper terminology is a club.
Yeah.
But I would never ride with an MC square on my back. So that's the big difference. If you ever seen the MCs and they have a square on the back that says MC, that's an actual motorcycle club. I would never ride with them. They're some of the greatest guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
They're super nice. I would never ride with them, but the culture is fascinating.
The culture is fascinating.
It's absolutely incredible. And they'll tell you stories. They'll answer questions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're great guys. But Speaking of motorcycle clubs,
Boom! Look at
oh my God.
that! Fuck,
that was not on
Amazing
purpose. I just
that
saw it.
transition was amazing.
You have a we do faction conversations about the Warhammer world on this show quite a bit, and you had one you wanted to talk about today.
I am a huge fan of everyone who's listening to the show knows that I'm a Space Wolves junkie.
Yeah.
Love Space Wolves, but my second favorite faction is the good old White Scars. I love them. I think they're fascinating. I love the idea behind
Okay, so I'm going to hit you with everything I know about the White Scars real quick.
Great.
Ready?
Go. Hit it.
Primarch progenitor
Yes.
is Jagatai Khan.
The Khan.
Correct.
The
Khan.
great Khan.
He's got a crazy ponytail.
Crazy.
They are roughly based on the Mongol Empire, but instead of horses, they have motorcycles.
Right.
And they are all about fast attack.
Yep.
That is the entirety of what I know about the fucking
So
White Scars. That is it.
So actually, they are 100% based on the Mongol Empire. In fact, that their home planet, Chigoris, is basically the Mongol steppe, area of the world.
So we're talking about a lot of plains.
Ton of planes, and even the people that they recruit from still are in medieval times and that kind of stuff. Hunt from horseback, still do that. That is 100% a thing that they still do, and they keep their population to that level where it's just like
So they just don't grow beyond their capacity to farm and hunt for.
Forage and hunt, and the White Scars make
Those
sure
planets have a name, and they're called. Where are my other nerds at? What are those planets called?
Not Death Worlds.
The ones that don't advance in the 40K universe.
Feudal worlds? It could be a feudal world.
No, the feudal worlds are the ones that set it up on the feudal system where you have like lords and then you have whatever. But there's the ones that...
Mundus planet?
No, there's a name for... We'll find it eventually.
We'll think of it. Somebody's screaming at us right now.
But there's a name for those worlds that essentially they don't turn into advanced imperial worlds.
Yeah.
They only hold their old ways. And it's because when they seeded those worlds, they go in and a lot of the imperial expansion in those worlds, this doesn't have to do with White Scars. This has to do with the original human expansion out into the galaxy.
Right.
Like they would show up and like the ship got them there.
Feral
worlds.
world.
Feral worlds.
But the ship got them there, but it won't like build you a city. It won't do any of that. So now you just have to like survive.
Yeah. And a lot of these places just survive because it was hard work. It's not.
And so there's a lot of the feral worlds that are still set up like old England where it's farm tracks and they do that kind of stuff. Or like this, where you have the Mongol steppe where it's like, no, we landed and there was a thing that's very close to a horse. And so we use a horse.
We use horses.
We couldn't give bolters to everybody. So we have bows and arrows and we have this kind.
Then technology gets lost and they're just stuck that way.
Well,
but
and
also,
then the dark age? No,
the dark age of mankind.
No, there's the dark age of technology, which is essentially where they were like, we need to stop advancing tech. We're just going to leave it where it's at.
Yeah, we're stopping.
But
tech,
the lost
that was when tech got so big that it almost wiped everybody out, and then they kind of
which is also where we
Middle
banned
Ages.
AI and all that kind of stuff.
And we created like our own.
But a lot of those
medievals.
planets, it was like we don't have the tech to do this.
Yeah.
So and it's really interesting when they describe those planets because like they'll have radio communication.
Yeah.
But they still live in like a hut with a grass roof and all that kind of stuff, but they can communicate cross planet.
Exactly.
Or there will be like shuttle stations that you can go to. It allows things to get on and off planet.
Right.
But then the rest of everything else is still, it's a cool blend.
Yeah. But in Chigoris, they don't even do that.
So it was truly a full disconnect.
Full disconnect. And the White Scars make sure it's very similar to Fenris, where they just have tribal warfare and that kind of stuff. They keep it that way for a reason. And I always love them because there's a huge overlap between White Scars and Space Wolves. Everyone the mentality of that old school, barbarianism that is, people look at them and be like, they're a bunch of barbarians. But when you get below that first layer to the second, third layer, you're like, oh no, these are incredibly smart.
They just like it this way.
They just do it this way. This is their culture, but they are incredibly smart. They're well-rounded. They have technological. They know what technology is. They can work it. They are.
Now, do the White Scars still function like the wolves, where it's kind of a might makes right?
No, they aren't. They are
because the Space Wolves are very much a might makes right.
Exactly.
The strongest is
no, and that's actually one of the coolest things is of any Space Marine chapter. This is the first time I've ever heard this. Their chapter master right now, Jubal Khan, is the guy's name, is actually incapacitated. So he was taken prisoner by the Red Corsairs and was tortured for years on end. And when they finally rescued him, he's basically just like a mangled husk. And he basically leads the entire White Scar Legion or the White Scar chapter from bed.
Wow.
So is it because of tactical genius?
Tactical genius.
And so that's why they're like, nope, you're the one that actually is best suited to make the call.
This. So he's a wonderful, he's an amazing tactical genius, has a bunch of loyalty, and also has the right because he was chapter master already and he's not dead. So he's holding on to life. But he's, other chapters will be like, no, you can't be the chapter master anymore because you can't go out and fight. Like the Space Wolves, 100%. Would have gotten rid of them.
Space Wolves or might makes right, even on their home planet. That is a.
Whereas the White Scars have a huge culture of art, music, that kind of stuff as well too. So they are. So
creativity is
held at a very. They're really well known for their calligraphy.
Because the thing is that like tactical genius is creative thinking. Yeah. That's being able to look at things asymmetrically or being able to look at things nonlinear.
Yeah,
which is an artistic mindset. That's the idea of. But I
can
see the potential over just the A to B, B to C.
Yeah, and they really pride themselves on being artistic. And, when people aren't fighting, or instead of just, reading the Codex Astartes or something like that, they're actually working on artwork, calligraphy, that kind of stuff. Falconry is a big deal. They all have falcons.
Where do they all learn how to ride motorcycles then?
Because that's what everyone, what they say in Chigoris is that everyone was born in the saddle. And they see that the motorcycle and the horse is the exact same thing.
I'd believe that. I ride a motorcycle and I'd say that's...
Well, that's because I'm a cowboy, but on a steel horse I ride.
Yeah, exactly. So when they get their guys and everything like that, they've been riding horses since they were 2 years old. And then they're just like, oh, instead of a horse now, you ride this motorcycle.
That makes sense.
And they're just like, oh, okay. So that's where it comes from.
It explains their fight style
and
quite
it also
a bit.
explains their fight style because their fighting style is from that tribal mentality of where if you've ever watched any like documentary on Genghis Khan or the Mongol Empire, it was a fast attack as fast as you can, circle and keep on fighting.
And then fuck everybody.
Fuck everything up, but do not stop moving.
Actually, like,
just
fuck everybody.
You see that in the movie Mulan.
Yeah, you do.
Like, which is a Disney movie, but...
They actually portrayed the... You're 100% right. Yeah. And it was actually very accurate on how they do that. But you had a question about... It looked like you had a question about the White Scars.
I didn't have a question. I was just saying that they seem kind of arrogant.
Extremely.
Oh, yeah. No,
because when they visited Chthonia and just the remarks that they had on
in the heresy,
the mining people in Chthonia, and he was like, "They're serpents that need to be struck down." I'm like, "You come from a planet that you don't even have technology. You're a little too big for your britches."
Okay, in all fairness, Jagatai though
is one of the best.
And
he's awesome, but he is cocky as fuck.
Well, yeah.
But if you look at on our planet actual history and you look at the cons.
Mm-hmm.
These were not humble
arrogant
people.
No, they're not. They think that they're the best ever.
Yeah, and so, but I mean, because you haven't gotten far enough into the heresy yet, but there's meetings and councils and stuff that happen that Jagatai's at, and he's like,
I can kill you. I can kill you.
And literally at the table is like,
well, I'm the best fighter here.
Like I can kill everybody at this table, and they're like, you could try, and he's like, no, 100% could kill every single one of you.
Definitely murder all you.
Yeah, exactly. And that whole idea is really pushed down to their chapter
of just assumption of greatness.
But they also have some really cool kind of like side pieces. So they are set up like a normal chapter of Astartes where you have companies 1 through 10.
Yeah.
First company, second company, third company. But the third company is one of the most interesting one. The third company is actually a specialized company that what they do is it's led by someone who has the honor of being called the Master of the Hunt. And once every 20 years, all the cons, which are the leaders of the chapter, they get together and they read every person that is like big name bad guy. They just read off their names. Like, these are the guys that have offended us. And then this
is our hit list.
This is 100%. And then they choose a name from that list and they look at the Master of the Hunt and be like, bring us his head.
Oh, shit.
That's your job. So then the third company goes out with the Master of the Hunt at the head, and they just go and they find this person and kill him and bring him back and bring back his head. That is their entire job, is just to be like a fucking assassin and kill people.
Yeah.
Which is super, super fascinating. And then also in the model, Casero Khan, which is a model you can get if you're playing White Scars, that is the master of the hunt.
Oh, cool.
So you can, that's
I bet
their
he's
big
brutal
name.
on the rule set, then.
Now,
Yeah.
So we've discussed this before. In the Heresy era, so 30K, not 40K.
Yeah, right.
But in 30K, so the Great Crusade era, every legion has a job.
Right.
So you need, one thing I want to reinforce is that the Emperor designed his 20 kids to all do something specific. Right. Your original fandom, the Space Wolves,
right?
Russ is designed to be the executioner.
Yeah, he's his job. Don't fuck up guy.
They needed the guy that was like, okay, well, I have 19 other demigods. I need one that can kill them. Because if somebody
everybody in line.
If somebody fucks around, I can send the wolf, and the wolf just handles business.
Yeah.
What is Jagatai and his crew like? What was their original
fast attack
purpose? That was the whole thing. Was just
fast attack. So their whole thing is that if they have something that's motorized, they take it up to 11. And they just, every bit of their strategy is about moving as fast as you can on an opponent before it has time to react to you and keep on hitting it over and over again.
So it's just straight violence of action. If I move faster than you can, then you can't respond.
Yeah, and their thing is, so they basically have, if they're assaulting a fixed position, they basically have 100 warriors on motorcycles come up, assault the position, and then just keep on circling it while assaulting it. Then constantly move, don't stop moving is the biggest thing that they have. And it's really kind of fascinating because they've done really, really good things. They've killed a lot of badass people, and they've worked well with I'm listening to a novel right now that talks about how they work really well with the Raven Guard.
So, which I'm a huge fan of, and at some point we will have the conversation about the Raven Guard.
Yeah,
because Corvus Corax, his story.
Yeah, he's fascinating.
All that kind of stuff. It's absolutely fascinating. Now, so we'll reinforce just to go back. The original 20 Primarchs they're test tube babies. Like these are not, there was no like Imperial wife or whatever. They are all
question.
Erda.
What are the chances, since the Emperor has like lived forever?
Yeah. I mean, he's, was apparently at the...
Theoretically.
No, yeah. Theoretically, live forever.
We'll find out in about a week.
I mean...
God, I can't wait.
Doesn't all Parsons, like, essentially say that he's been around forever?
Well, no, all Parsons is older than him.
Well, yeah, but, like, all Parsons knows when the Emperor
they don't know
started.
who's older.
All does. All's like, no, I'm 100% older than you.
Well, he says he is. They found each other. Later. But, like, they were at the Battle of the Tower of Babel together.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we're talking about like the start of humankind.
Yeah. So we're saying extremely old.
Right.
What are the chances that all of his sons they've collected DNA from important people in historical like Terra world, and then he threw that DNA? So like Jagatai Khan would be like Genghis Khan.
I'm like, he probably was around to look at it, to look at Genghis Khan and was like, oh shit, that's
but then there's,
but he was like, I need that DNA because you were a great fighter and I want that someday.
Okay, but ready to blow your mind on your theory
My
right
theory.
there. So the reason that theory is not that far off is that there's the entire theory that all of the important mega figures that we know in history were the Emperor.
So the Emperor could be the Khan.
Genghis was the Emperor. That Julius Caesar was the Emperor.
I thought that was all Parsons.
No.
All was his aide de camp.
Yeah, he was always the guy behind the throne.
Gotcha.
He was the guy that was his right hand up until a particular battle, in which case all Parsons went, you're out of your fucking mind, and I'm done with this.
But
and
also, all Parsons had a couple of his own things. Like he was a part of the Argonauts.
Well, he's Jason.
Yeah, he's Jason of the Argonauts.
So Jason and the Argonauts and that journey, he is Jason.
Yeah.
So all Parsons in the story is supposed to have been like that hero that goes on all these journeys.
Mm-hmm.
That's all Parsons.
Yeah.
The Alanius Parsons, by the way.
Olanius.
Which then turns into all persons. In other words, all of these major historical heroes that you've heard is all Parsons. The self-sacrificing, do it for the betterment of mankind.
Hercules.
That's all Parsons. The leader, the one that has tried to reshape and create empires on Earth
Mm-hmm.
is the Emperor.
Yeah.
So Genghis Khan, huge empire. That's the Emperor.
Chairman Mao, Hitler.
There is an
going
argument
on
that
the
he was
Hitler.
Hitler.
I mean, those are people that try to change a whole country.
Right.
And
There
regime.
is an argument that he was Hitler.
Yeah.
But the big one is that he was Caesar.
Yeah.
He was Khan.
Yeah.
He was Alexander.
Yep.
Napoleon.
So they don't really go that new. I know that
Yeah.
sounds weird, but
No.
history's weird, right? Because we view all these as like, oh, these empire, but Napoleon was 150 years ago. Like that wasn't in
crazy.
the grand scheme of things.
Not that
That's
far.
not that long ago.
Not that long
Right.
ago. The body's still fresh.
but all of the big empires, and honestly, the French Empire, the Napoleonic Empire, was actually quite small in comparison to the
Shit
emperors that have
in
been
terms
built.
of timeline, it was very short.
No,
It's very short
I
and
mean,
small.
land mass, like just
Yeah.
what it controlled was crazy, crazy small. I love reading some of that stuff. There's that he was the leader of the Medici family. Like there's like
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
these
yeah,
that are
yeah,
out
yeah.
there, and so all of the ones that led culture and rebooted humanity and a way to do things. That every single one of those was the emperor. He just keeps moving around and is every single one of those figures. So it's an interesting thing that you brought up on like, did he collect the DNA of
these
Genghis
figures.
Khan?
Yeah.
Or was that just an attribute of the emperor because he was Genghis Khan?
Or maybe he like split
and he
himself.
used no,
And
he
he also-
used his gene code
Yeah.
and then continued to manipulate it to create these kind of, which is why these legions and their personalities are so reflective of these historical figures, all from Terra,
Mhm.
because none of them
Yeah.
are a non-Terran historical figure.
Yeah.
All of the legions.
Because I would honestly argue that Robot Gilliman is very Julius Caesar.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby G and the Ultramarines, that is 100% the Romans.
Yeah.
Right down to their symbolism, their presentation of things, the need to codify everything.
But then the idea is like the emperor also didn't have access to higher technology than was available to him at the time.
Correct.
So he wouldn't be able to like be like, oh, I took Genghis Khan's gene or genome, because he didn't really, because technology, like the science wasn't there yet.
But
he
if
was
he
able to-
was Genghis Khan,
He can pull the
then he could just
manipulate
take that piece
DNA.
of the DNA
out of himself.
out of
Yeah.
himself
Which
and
makes
make
sense.
the new Primarch. Which is why all of them are based. So, if he was Leif Erikson, if he was,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, and then decides, yep, I'm going to make this Norse-based Primarch that is
Mhm.
going to be able to kill anything he fights.
Yeah, that's
I'll
right.
just manipulate my gene seed. I'll manipulate my genome to create this Primarch
that I already know
with
that
these
could've-
traits because that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was Genghis Khan, so I can take that experience and I can
I
cut
was
out.
Julius Caesar.
and
I was King
Caesar,
Arthur.
I was Arthur. I was all of these things, and I can make these people that are going to build this
Mhm.
new personality trait because I know these things worked, but they only worked within their bubble.
And I have to create that.
But if
bubble
I
separately.
cover
Yeah.
everything with 20 bubbles and they all have a piece of that, then I've solved everything that works. And I have all of these tools that cover how everybody
Exactly.
was able to be covered. So honestly, you're not far off on the whole, like, did he recover it? Or was he just
Just
that
it.
person
Yeah.
and just manipulated that piece of his personality?
It'd be interesting to go through all the Primarchs and say what historical figures we think they are.
And a lot of that's been covered, and I'd be happy to have the conversation. But it's a lot of it's very on the nose. I mean, you can't be called Jagatai Khan
Without being Genghis Khan.
and
Yeah.
not look at the Mongol Empire and the Khans that existed. Like
And also Jagatai, not officially dead.
unknown
Unknown.
is kind of
The last time they saw him, he was fighting. They had a big, after the horse heresy and everything like that.
well, that's super recent too, because it's
He was one of the last ones to go.
well, Into the Death Book 2.
Yeah. He's on death's door.
He's dying, and while
Who did he fight?
What do you mean?
How
Who
is he
killed
so
him?
injured?
Mortarion
Oh,
Mortarion fucks him up.
fucks him up.
That's fair.
But Malkador, the Sigilite, is on the throne, and while he's on the throne, is able to reach out and kind of grab the the Khan's soul, and like pull it back into his body.
Hey, get back here!
And his,
Get back here, you son of a bitch!
But at that point, he literally in the book he goes, "The fight is now up to you."
Yeah,
Like he kind of retethers it, but he's like, "I can't heal you." So
but he does get better, and he
I got better.
I got better.
Just a flesh wound.
Just so the heresy after the heresy, they
turned
do
me
a
into a
huge turn me into a newt. Little bitty rocks.
Small rocks.
The White Scars had a big vendetta against the Drukhari,
Gravy.
like a massive Drukhari
Why?
vendetta. That's who they.
Just didn't
Because they're
like him.
Xenos.
Yeah, they're Xenos.
Suffer
and-
not the Xenos to live.
Yeah, they had a
That
big
is the
thing about
Imperial
that.
credo.
And the last time they saw Jagatai was that he was heading into a webway gate with like a bunch of guys chasing after some
Drakari guys.
Jakari guys, and they don't know what happened to
I
him.
don't think they like their ponytails.
Yeah, he is
So he
unknown.
probably is in what's the place?
The warp?
What in the webway?
No, in the webway, the Jakari place,
Oh, the city.
the city.
That's in both in and out
Out,
of
yeah,
the warp
so
at the
he's in
same
there.
time.
That's what everyone says. Like he's there
Hold on.
doing some stuff.
Huh?
Cigarette? Cigarette?
Say that again. Don't text me. Just fucking say it. Just say it out loud. Cigarette?
Yeah, cigarette or something
They're
like
in
that.
cigarette.
They're having a cig.
Our
They're
production
out.
team fucking blows. I don't know what to tell you guys.
I'm sorry, guys. Jim
Quit
couldn't make
finger
it.
popping each
Chagora-
other's assholes and get me some information that's actionable.
You got me.
Sigorak.
Sigorak,
Cigarette.
Which is
cigarettes.
I like cigarette
I
better.
knew the purpose of it. So it is actually this Drakari that's both in and out
Of the
warp at the
webway,
same
yeah.
time. It's like half in, half out.
It's a massive city, but it's also
Yeah.
like it's you can't like
That's like the definition
the
of being on the fence.
yeah.
It's the galactic equivalent of soaking. I broke my co-host, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome.
Sorry.
soaking. What
Sorry. We have
am I gonna have to jump on the bed?
You're gonna have to shake the bed for me.
Yeah. I didn't know you were a Mormon.
Hey, we were supposed to leave that out of it. Mark that timestamp down. I gotta redact shit.
redact it.
I can see the timestamp. 42010. Got it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so he's unknown. He's right there with Russ.
Yeah.
So he's a Primarch that could definitely come back that they don't know is dead or alive.
no, he's
you know?
not coming back.
Yeah. So
Only
he's
in
a cool one.
stories.
there's a couple of Primarchs that are out there that were like, we don't know their fate.
Like Lehman Russ, I think, is unknown at this point.
No, we absolutely know he's in the warp. He was in the warp.
Okay.
He went looking for the shrub,
Yeah.
the tree of life,
Yeah, you look to the
Bring me.
shrubbery.
magic shrub.
A shrubbery.
That's kind of what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's out there. Yeah,
Monty Pythoning.
he's
it.
Monty Pythoning the
And same
warp.
thing with the White Scars. Like they don't know where he is. What's the other one? Dorn was always dead, but they retcon that to just being his hand.
He's not dead. They just have his hand, and that's always the thing. Is like we don't know what happened to Dorn. He's like, oh, they only got one hand. We know that the Imperial fists is now the Imperial fist. Like he doesn't have fists anymore. He's got one. Hate to tell you this, when Space Marines and Primarchs are Space Marines, they're just really big Space Marines. Lose body parts, we just replace them. Like we just bolt new shit on.
We
We're
have
just-
the
there you go.
technology.
He's fine.
We can rebuild him.
Fucking Horus was the Primarch of Primarchs. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, he was.
he's missing like half his shit, and they
Yeah,
just kept
boy.
bolting new shit onto him.
That's true, huh?
They put him like you got hella poisoned. They put him in Terminator armor. They hosed all of his shit up.
Yeah.
Like
Cut the
he
hoses into his
can't.
brain.
He
yeah.
can't take his fucking power claw off. Like he's fucking.
Yeah.
Like
He's fucked
this
up.
is not new. We absolutely just bolt new shit onto him. It's fine.
Yeah.
So he's just missing his hand. Yeah, we know. We know it's funny that the Imperial fists now only have one.
The Crimson Chin.
They'll still fist you. It's fine.
The Crimson Chins.
So,
But yeah. So anyway, White Scars, super fun. If you read anything of what, just my little voice crack there.
yeah.
Fun
Got your
guys.
puberty there.
So great. The God.
The Imperial
These
Fist.
guys. Yeah.
they're super
good
dope.
too. They're
But
super
it's
dope.
it's literally badasses on bikes. They're the
And the
galactic
reason- and
the
the re-
galactic motorcycle gang.
Yeah, they're a galactic motorcycle gang, and if I really think they would be much more popular if it wasn't so hard to paint white.
I think they would be much more popular if they
Yeah.
actually had any
That's true.
model support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a very, very cool army.
Yeah.
They don't have
And
like cool named models. Or
Except
cool
Kasaro Khan,
stuff.
which is
Well, the other thing was the last couple of editions. For those of you that haven't played a lot of Warhammer, 8th and 9th edition were not friendly to you wanting to play anything outside of the incredibly structured army list.
Yep.
10th edition is opening that up.
Yep.
10th edition kind of allows you to play what you want. So if you want to take fucking 30 motorcycles,
Yeah.
you can take 30 motorcycles.
And they're also opening it up so they have that ATV fucking thing.
Yeah. So
You know.
it works out. 10th edition
Land
is better.
speeders.
The last 8 years up until 10th edition that happened in June, the last 8 years of 40K has been incredibly structured.
Mhm.
So you could paint them like whatever faction you wanted to, but you weren't really playing that faction. You were playing Space Marines with a different paint job.
Exactly.
The current edition very much allows you to get far more wild with your list.
It's more creative. With the
Um,
It
lists.
is.
So you're seeing a lot more factions that came out. The White Dwarf will be out when I publish this episode. That White Dwarf has a combat patrol in it specifically for the Raven Guard.
I know that was cool.
And it's a combat patrol. I will be building it. So if you want to play some combat patrol, you can absolutely
I'm
try
in.
and fight my Raven Guard.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I believe most of the people in this room as of this recording are interested in doing a crusade together.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, should we do a
um,
special crusade
I'm
episode?
thinking maybe that since we have the Warhammered thing, we could do some video only stuff and play the crusade games here in the studio.
I'm in. 100% in.
My vote is that we start it with the first couple weeks of it are combat patrol only.
Oh, I like that.
You take the combat patrol structure of whatever faction you're playing,
Okay.
and you play the combat patrol, and then you're fine. I've already looked at it.
You have it.
have the list.
No, I don't. I don't have the Walker. I would have to trade a Dreadnought in.
Okay.
You need the Silent Walker? I got you, boo. I got 4 of them.
I don't want to paint it.
I don't need 4 of them.
I don't want to paint it.
Yeah, it's spray paint and some wash.
I'm
You're
a
fine.
painter right here.
Don't be a pussy.
I'll put on my TikTok.
You have a TikTok?
I do.
He does. It's quite big, actually.
You have a TikTok?
I have over 1,000 followers.
Belle of Lost Souls just followed her.
Yeah. they just started
Really?
following.
Yeah.
Yes,
Look
as
at
of
you.
yesterday.
It is literally their TikTok is bitch with a brush.
That's me.
I love it. I don't have TikTok, but if I did,
It's her painting stuff. So
Bitch
if
with
you're
a
on
brush.
TikTok, you can go follow her. It's at bitch with a brush, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Well, it's
and
also- I
it's
got-
just her painting stuff.
I got a bunch of that. Those little bits from.
yeah.
So
yeah,
I need
yeah,
to.
yeah.
I need to still need to print them and put them on stuff. So I can,
But,
I can make a
um,
walker.
We can make a walker.
But
Walker.
you talking about the Silent Walker? The fuck is that thing called?
The-
Tactical war suit, whatever.
Yeah, Inviticus.
The Paragon?
Victus tactical war suit, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
read it, it's funny. It's like with silent servos, it allows it. I'm like, yeah, because the Space Wolves are super worried about being quiet.
Yeah, right. Don't give a fuck.
We just need to look at your combat patrol rules, but I think it'd be cool to start with the combat patrol and then
Yeah.
grow it from there.
I'm okay with that.
But I want to do some more video content for the show,
I do too.
and so I think doing some crusade stuff will get enough people in it.
I want to play that guy again.
Fuck that guy.
I want to play that. I
That
want to
guy
play
right
you
there.
again with your.
You got to play
Cord.
Xenos though, buddy. I'm sorry.
With
Like
your-
we got too many Imperial players.
No. He has a great world eaters army.
He does. It's very pretty too.
Or you can pick it up at battlepub.com.
If you need a combat patrol to play along in our crusade at home, you can go to battlepub.com
or just
and
call the
we can take care.
store.
We can call the store and
We ship.
we'll get it taken care of. You. We ship nationwide. But I think I would like to do that as
I think that's
a
a good
show
idea.
segment
Yeah,
and
I
do
like
it. We'll still drink. We'll still talk shit. But
Yeah.
we'll push plastic around while we're at
I
it.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Maybe every once in a while we'll get wild and go on Twitch or something and fucking go
Let's do
live.
it.
Yeah.
Fucking
I'm
make it
pretty.
weird.
I'm pretty animated when I play.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But
are you animated when you paint?
No, like when I play, I'm like, yes,
Because
my
you still
dick,
need to make a
bitches.
bunch of.
Okay, first of
yeah.
all,
Because
we're
of
doing
your
3
Black
nights and
Legion
3
isn't
days.
there.
It's almost done.
we'll give the update
3
on
nights
that.
and 3 days.
Yeah, so we might go a little live on
and
Warhammer
then I'm painting.
this weekend
Okay.
is Portmaw.
Okay. I would 100%.
Our annual,
I'll put my army on the table against someone.
but it's
for that.
it's our annual APOC
My
event,
boy.
apocalypse event that we have here at BattlePub. So Warhammer may go live for a little bit and talk to you guys about the weirdness that's going on over there.
love
but
that. 100%.
I'll
I'll be there.
Other than that, games,
Scars.
drinks, and fucking hijinks. Go look up the White Scars because they are a
They're
fucking
fun.
cool army.
If you like motorcycles and shooting guns on motorcycles, because their motorcycles also have guns attached to them.
it's true.
Yeah, but the flavor just doesn't wow me.
Well, it
The
doesn't
flavor
have to.
doesn't wow
The
you?
beautiful thing about Warhammer is that there is a flavor that you will find.
Yep.
That will wow you.
And that's what's beautiful
But
about
you
it.
have to paint it.
I'm trying to convince him to play the White Scars in Heresy so that we can have another Heresy player.
I'll do that. I'd 100% do that.
Yeah, I may be able to sort that out for you.
That's
as
the
my-
right thing to do.
No, as my early 40th birthday present to
Really?
you, I may be able to sort out Heresy for you.
Oh,
because I
that's
love
the
you,
right
buddy.
thing to do.
It's
And
such
if
a
the one
clean
thing that we
game.
know, there's only one statement out there in the entire wild universe of the 40K, and that is
Russ was right.
there it is.
Giving it to her.
Games, Drinks, and Hijinks, kids. Go out there. Find Second Pitch Beer Company on all the socials.
And HEBs.
Put it in your mouth.
And if you're in San Antonio, you can find it at all the HEBs, or go by his fucking brewery, because it's better for small businesses if you buy direct. So
Support small.
Absolutely.
support fucking small. And if you don't want to go there, you can come here, BattlePub Games, and we'll serve you his beer because I carry everything the man makes. And you can play while you're at it.
Yep.
Other than that, be good to each other.
Yep.
And
Don't be an asshole.
don't be a dick, because nobody likes that shit.
Yeah.
So we're going to go finish up these beers and talk some more shit to each other. Other
like
than that, we love you guys. Hit him with him, Jim.
Bye.